Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Well, I'm back in town at home from the trip we took to the Dominican Republic and the Excellence Punta Cana Resort. Hopefully, you saw that review I did while I was there. Today's review is on the new Ernesto Perez-Carrillo Encore, and this size is the Majestic. It's a Robusto. They call it the Majestic, 5 3/8 by 52. Nice looking box press cigar. There's your density. All right. This is the second in the family series. They call it the family series line. The first was the La Historia, released in 2014. This cigar was originally showcased at 2016's IPCPR, but didn't quite get to the market until around May of this year. Now, this cigar pays tribute to Perez-Carrillo's grandchildren, and the names are associated with an encore type endeavor. He calls his grandchildren the future of their business. Now, this is all Nicaraguan blend, wrapper, binder, filler, made in Nicaragua at the Tabacalera La Alianza factory. 4 sizes. As I said, this is the Majestic, 5 3/8 by 52. There's also the Celestial, which is 6 1/8 by 50. The Valientes, 6 1/8 by 52, and the La Primero, 6 7/8 by 54. A lot of oddball measurements there. But what we want to do is check out the cigar and see what it's like. So let's get right to it. I got to admit, when I saw it was all Nicaraguan, it really got my attention. So this is the new Perez-Carrillo Encore. All right, we've got this little cloth band at the foot, which is easily removed by just inching it down and around. And there we go. It's a very medium brown color, but it's actually got a little, it's not a sharp box press. I like to call that just an average box press, almost to the point of it's oval, not so much box pressed. That is every bit of the definition of an effortless draw. Wow. As you can see, this cigar makes a ton of smoke. Some do. Some cigars do. This is one of them. All right, you've got on the par of a dry cedar with just a touch of tanginess and quite a bit of white chocolate. There is black pepper at every bit of 7.5, close to an 8. It's very peppery. There is nutmeg bridging the cedar and the white chocolate. You can definitely detect the nutmeg in there. And a modest amount of black coffee at the base. That is how you start. As I said, this cigar produces a tremendous amount of smoke, but it's got a tremendous amount of black pepper also to go along with those sweet notes. So let's see where we go from here. Well, I'm about 1.5 inches or so in, and I'm going to call this the first third because we're right at the band there. And I'm going to set it down because, as you can see, it's very precarious looking. Getting little hints of brown sugar. You definitely have the flavors that I described initially. At the end of the draw, right at the tail end of the white chocolate, there is a sharp black pepper introduction. And it is every bit of the 7.5, close to an 8 that I described. It really just sort of punctuates the sweet flavors with a blast of black pepper. The finish is sort of you remember my term I've used in the past, toasted cream? Well, this is a nutmeg and toasted cream. Some decent lingering black pepper, not nearly what the front end has. Medium bodied, leaning toward medium to full. Very tasty, very sweet. The dry, somewhat tangy dry cedar is quite nice, and it gives it a nice pop when that nutmeg and white chocolate hit, and then the brown sugar sort of sprinkles in there. For this first third, and it's still hanging in there barely, I've got to do something. But for the first third, it's a 90. Okay, we're pretty good. We're pretty good. It's nice and sweet. It seems to be developing some additional flavors, so I want to see sort of what the second third holds. Well, I'm just completing the second third. Look at the smoke. Tremendous amount of smoke. The dry cedar is still there in play, and it has a sharpness to it. It's not as tangy as it was. The white chocolate is still there. The nutmeg is still there. The sprinklings of brown sugar is still there. The coffee has elevated. The black coffee, and it sort of has an earthiness about it, and it's elevated now, where before it was just subtle. With that elevated coffee, it sort of takes away a little bit of the sweetness because you can't miss the black coffee. Medium to full body. Finish is unchanged. With the elevated coffee and taking away some of the sweetness, I'm actually going to lower the score to 89 with a 2/3 point. It's not a bad thing, but it does take away some. I have just removed the main band that said Encore. So we're going along pretty nicely. It looks like we're going to get about an hour out of this cigar. So let's just hang in there and see where we go from here. Well, we're down to the end, so let's wrap it up. You pretty much continued exactly on the same path from the 2/3 point to the end. Still had the elevated coffee, had the nice cedar, dry cedar. The white chocolate gave it some thick sweetness. Nutmeg took away some of the sweetness, nullified it, made it more balanced. Sprinklings of brown sugar, but the elevated coffee and the black pepper really came out at the 2/3 point all the way to the end. It was just really, I mean, the black pepper was good throughout the cigar, but it just, you noticed it more with that elevated coffee. Finish is unchanged, medium to full bodied. Pretty good cigar. Had some aspects of what I usually find in Nicaraguan cigars, but this was not citrusy. It was had a bit of tanginess at the beginning. Really, the high point of the cigar was the first third. The second third and the end lost a little bit because of the elevated coffee. Elevated coffee is fine, but it took away some of the front end heavy sweetness. For the final third, I'm maintaining the 89 rating. So when you average it out, overall score is 89. These should be around. Now, they've been sitting for a solid 2 years. When they first debuted at the IPCPR in 2016, they were ready to go, but they didn't hit the market till just recently. So with the extra aging, I don't know what it did for it, but they have been around for a while, so that's a good thing. So there you have it, the Perez-Carrillo Encore Majestic 89.